Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Those Were the Days. You know, sometimes you want to go where everyone knows your name, where they're always glad you came. Well, you came to the right place because I know all these people's names. And yes, dear listener, I know yours. Inside this unassuming and very brown bar, you'll find me tending the bar and interacting with my favorite patrons. He's full of facts, trivia, and good stories. It's Audie Norman.
You know, little known fact, you could be sweating when you're anxious in order to alert others. See, there's a scientific theory that suggests that we've evolved to sweat while we're anxious in order to alert the brain of other people around us so that they are primed for whatever it is that's making us anxious. In fact, brain scans have revealed that when you sniff the sweat of a panic-induced person, regions of the brain that handle emotional and social signals light up. When you're anxious, your sympathetic nervous system releases hormones, including adrenaline, which activates your sweat glands. Gives a whole new meaning to sweating to the oldies.
Thank you so much, Audie. You might get the belt. The only true Northeasterner here who can probably do these accents justice, Amy Frost.
There were a lot of television shows from my youth that gave me really high expectations for the way that things were going to be, but none let me down more as Cheers' portrayal of the local bar.
And he's here every night, but definitely not a drunk. It's Travis.
Well, sorry. I fell asleep there for a second. One more beer, just a quick one, and then I'll hit the road.
If you haven't guessed by now, we're covering the legendary CBS sitcom Cheers. Pull up a stool and let me pour you a pint. Also, I would like to point out that I did not plan nor set up who I was going to pick as what character. That just worked.
It just works.
I don't even know what happened. We did not plan that. That was good. Well done, everybody.
It's the beauty of how well we podcast together.
Look, you know, we're basically a hive mind. Just comes together to talk about classic TV, which is what we're going to do here. And we are very excited to have you, the listener, the viewer, joining us here on the show tonight because we're talking about a legendary sitcom. Like, there are sitcoms that just, they transcend the rest of them. They become a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
And Cheers definitely meets that bar. But why? Oh, why does it meet the bar? We're going to talk about it. We're going to find out. We're going to dig into Cheers and understand what made it so special. But first, as always, I would love to get a little bit of history around you guys and Cheers and what made it special to you, if it was at all. Audie, let's start with you.
You know, Cheers is one of those where it's like, I don't remember trying to watch it, but I remember just watching it somehow. I think it's one of those shows that was on TBS all the freaking time in reruns in some way, shape, or form. And I mean, it's one of those, it's like, how do you not know this show if you're of a certain age? You know, like I know today in streaming and everything, we've gotten away from TV like it was, but man, it just feels like Cheers was always there. And that theme song, good Lord.
Yeah.
I remember in band class in middle school, one of the kids played like the Cheers theme on the last day of school. And it was very emotional. It was like a lot. It was a lot.
That's awesome.
That song can be played at a birthday, a wedding, or a funeral and fit like everywhere
It
you play.
features very heavily if you've watched Adventure Time. Or the spin-off show Fiona and Cake, which are both excellent and really wild. Like, there's some depth in those cartoons that you do not expect to happen. And the song features heavily for a character who kind of loses himself a lot of the time when he puts on his magic crown and gets powers, and the song brings him back. It's so good. It's so good. You're like, what is happening? Is this the Cheer? Like, the first time it happens, you're like, is that the Cheers theme song? Oh, it is.
Yeah, because it's what you need. Look, I think it could calm the Hulk down. I think that's
Yeah.
the kind of song that it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So Amy, since you got the mic, let's keep going with you. Find out what your relationship to Cheers is, as being someone who's in closer proximity to the
Real close.
inspiration.
So I
Yeah.
used to live a block away from Cheers.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
actually the Bull and Finch pub on Beacon Street. And I did when I went to college in Boston for 2 years as a theater major, and I used to walk by it every day to go to class. It's like on a corner, and I lived a block away, and my like down the little street was where my classes were. So I used to go by. So there are a lot of tourists from like 99 and 2000 who have photos of themselves and a group of raggedy theater kids because we used to photobomb all the time.
Oh,
And this
dude.
was like film, right?
Right.
Like you were not looking at these pictures as you went. So you got pictures back with just raggedy theater kids in the background. But I love Cheers a lot. And watching this episode, I was like, there's so many things that I feel like a lot of people need explained. There are a lot of Boston sports references, and it's wild.
Yeah.
There were quite a few.
I
Yeah,
forgot how good Coach is, though.
Oh,
I did forget.
Coach is a treasure.
Whew.
A treasure.
Yeah. So I mean, this is near and dear to my heart. I
Yeah.
did literally live there.
That's awesome. I have been down the stairs, but I did not get to eat nor have a beverage there because it was packed when I
Yeah.
went. Because I was in a
Yeah.
bar crawl when I went,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
we
Right.
didn't get to actually drink at a bar till like the 75th bar we walked to,
Mhm.
because it just fills up as you go, and you're
But
like,
the good news is we've got plenty.
oh yeah,
Right.
oh yeah. There was a lot of bars. I think we went off the beaten path and had a great time. It
Yeah.
was quiet,
Yeah.
which was unusual. Whereas everywhere else was just nuts. But tons
Yeah.
of fun. So, Travis, moving on to you. Cheers.
Yeah, I remember watching the hell out of Cheers. I know I watched it like in its time slot and then a lot of reruns. And because there were so many characters in the show that would come and go, you can kind of forget where they started, where they ended. Like the episode started and I thought, wait, is Cliff in the first episode? And then he shows up, but he's on the other end of the bar.
Yeah.
On the
Like he's
wrong
not
end of the
sitting
bar.
next to Norm.
The wrong end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
because Frasier and Lilith aren't there.
Right.
yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, I love Coach. Coach is great.
Coach is so
Um,
good.
They made this particular episode too, the pilot episode. They're talking about Sam's pitching career
Mhm.
a lot when he's pitching for the Boston Red Sox. And what I loved is, as a Detroit Tigers fan, the names they mentioned were Detroit Tigers players. When they said, "Oh, he struck out," Cash, K-Line, and Freehan with a runner at second base. That's Norm Cash, Al K-Line, and Bill Freehan. They were prominent Tigers players back in the late 60s, early 70s, which, if you do the math, if Sam Malone is supposed to be the same age that if he's supposed to be the age of the actor, that fits because he would have been about 21, 22 when the Tigers
Yeah.
were good, when those players were playing for him. So like somebody actually paid attention when they were writing this, which
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate.
No one was writing
know.
this show in their sleep, and we will
No.
get to that. Like it's pretty astonishing once we start pulling through the episode. But a little bit about Cheers the show, if you were born under a rock or after the year 2000. We've got some facts for you. I don't know, I'm picking on you, 2000ers, but maybe 2010. I don't know who's listening to this show. We all are old. It's fine.
Old.
The song was written by Gary Portnoy. This was his debut single.
Yeah.
Gary Portnoy. You might not recognize his name because I think this is all he did. But this is what he did, and boy, is
But
it a
it's a heck
banger.
of a thing to do. If you
I-
got to be
Right.
known for one thing,
He's got two more
Oh, he's got two. Okay.
specific credits. He did the theme for Punky Brewster.
Okay.
He
All
sang
right.
that one.
All right.
And he did the theme for Mr. Belvedere.
Okay. So
Oh, wow.
Gary's got chops. Well done,
Yeah.
Gary Portnoy. I hope you can just ride those royalty checks to retirement, which you're
Yeah.
probably retired now. Because again, We're all old. This show is for old people.
Oh, good, our new tagline.
Yeah, right. So this show was I mean, it was treasure. I didn't write down when it came out or who wrote it. Remind me, James Burrows, Les Charles, and Bill Charles. What was the other Charles? I'm
Hang
such a
on.
good host.
James Burrows, Glenn Charles, Les Charles.
Glenn,
Yeah.
that was
Glenn
it. Yeah.
and
Glenn
Les
and
Charles.
Les
Yeah.
Charles.
Yep, who
Yep.
you might be familiar with their work from a little show we talked about last week called Wings. You know,
Yeah.
because this is all in the same universe, which I found out thanks to you guys in the Wings episode from last week, where we're just really across the bay there in Boston proper. But little things about this show, the series finished dead last when it debuted that week. Dead last, 77th. No one watched it, which is a travesty because this show is just joke a minute.
I mean, for a pilot, this
Yeah.
was real good.
This was
Yeah, it was.
We've watched some stinker pilots of good shows, but this was a good pilot.
oh
This is
yeah,
They
very
knew
good
what they were
pilot.
doing.
Yeah.
this was killer.
For it to finish dead last the week of its debut, and the show ran from 1982 to 1993, and they made 270 episodes. So who's getting the last laugh there? You know?
Ha-ha.
Like,
Well,
And-
apparently it debuted against the 2-hour season premiere of Magnum PI that year.
Well,
so,
yeah, all
that
right.
doesn't help.
No.
yeah.
Yeah, but 77th, like it's got to be.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you never because
Yeah.
this is the thing though. 77th is ridiculous, right? But this is
Yeah.
back in the day where if you did not catch it
yeah,
and you did not have,
Mhm.
I mean, I think this is probably even 82 is probably even before you had the
pre
fancy
VCR.
Mhm.
and certainly before you had the one where you could watch one thing and then record another thing
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
because that's when you were living.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah,
a time.
you run your VCR one channel and
You-
then you flip to your TV
Yeah.
to another one. Oh yeah,
hmm
that was the magic.
Yeah.
That was the hacker level stuff back in the day.
No one change anything.
Yeah, don't touch it. I've configured it just how I want it. Got my RF modulator plugged in. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
If you could understand that and get it to work, you were a genius.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were the king of your neighborhood, you know, or at least
Mhm.
among
Yes,
your
you were.
dad's friends. My boy can fix that VCR to do whatever we want, you know. Have him come over. Yeah, so the bar. Let's talk a little bit about the bar. The bar is probably one of the reasons this show could run so long because everything was pretty self-contained in this bar.
Yeah.
Like every episode.
Pretty bottle show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't need a whole lot extra other than shots of the outside, and the bar was real. It was a functioning, serviceable bar that was used for CBS parties from time to time. They would go down to the Cheers set to drink, so it was a functioning bar.
That's great.
Yeah, which
I
I
love
thought was pretty flippin' amazing. Initially, they would get complaints about this show, which you're like, what would they complain about? All the drinking? Yeah, the drinking's bad. No, complaints would roll in about the show's laugh track being too loud. The only thing about that is there was no laugh track. The audience was literally laughing that loud at every joke.
Well,
that.
and that was one of the fun little bits of trivia from this particular episode that I loved as I was reading through about it was when Norm has his first entrance and he comes in and Sam asks him, "Hey, what do you know?" And he's like, "Not enough." And everyone just dies laughing. And the writers were like, "That was great because they loved it and we weren't expecting that. And it was terrible because they loved it and we weren't expecting it. And now it makes writing his entrances that much harder."
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Because now they've
270
got a-
Norm entrances, or however many episodes you said.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
did one for every single episode of the show. If Norm
Mhm.
walked in the door, they needed a call and response. And
Yep.
I could
Mhm.
not imagine having to do that. There's only so many jokes, but they're out there. There's 270 of them. You can watch and find every one and catalog them. It'll be that. Maybe I'll do that over the weekend. It'll be great fun.
Mhm.
We had a handful of characters that were on this show and that premiered in this episode. Cliff is one of my favorites
Cliff
because
is so good.
Cliff and I are kindred spirits a little bit. We both love crazy trivia and just want to be on Jeopardy. That seems like a match made in heaven. Cliff is great. I didn't expect him on this episode, funny enough, and I was getting nervous until he showed up towards like the middle. But like you said, at the wrong end of the bar, he's not next to Norm.
Mhm.
Norm's the resident everyday bar drinking guy. Always shows up. There's a coach is our bartender for the first 3 seasons. I think season 4, Woody comes
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Which not in this episode, but fun fact about Woody, I guess they wrote the character prior to Woody Harrelson auditioning and named him prior to Woody Harrelson auditioning. So when Woody
Perfect.
auditioned,
Yeah.
his
For Woody.
name
He's
just
like-
happened to be the character. It wasn't, they
Perfect.
didn't retrofit that. It just
Mhm.
happened. And Woody didn't even want to audition, but his friend told him he should. Woody wanted to be in movies. But then it just worked out.
Well, good news, Woody. It's fine.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can do both.
This is how you do it. People
Yeah.
have to
Done
know
good,
who
kid.
you
You've
are.
done good.
Yeah, exactly. We got Diane, played by Shelley Long. We got Carla as Rhea Perlman, played Carla, who's just awesome.
She's so good in this.
I
So
love
much.
her.
Oh, she's
so-
fantastic.
Her
I love her in
entrance-
anything.
I love her in anything, but her entrance in this episode is
Mhm.
just magic.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because we talked about Wings last week and how we felt it was like almost overproduced
Mhm.
in a way, like overwritten.
Yeah.
This feels like they baked it at just the right amount of time
Yeah.
for every single person and every
She's
single
also just
character.
the most Boston. Like
Mhm.
it's just that is just it, isn't it? All right. Well,
But
okay.
I mean, talk about getting your characters like right at the jump, because she comes
Yeah.
in, she
Mhm.
says all that, and then it cuts to Ted Danson, Sam, as just like, God, do you think I was too hard on her? Like, it's just perfect.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
so good.
Yeah, it's so great. And Ted Danson, of course, playing Sam Malone, the owner of the bar, who just oozes cool, man. Like just oozes
Mhm.
cool. I don't know how they could have cast it any different. The guy, his timing is spot on. The way he carries himself is spot on. The dry wit is astonishing. He's a treasure. Like he's a treasure.
Here's what I love
Mhm.
about Sam too, right? Because we get like a lot of womanizer characters in old TV,
Mhm.
but Sam falls flat on his face so many
Yeah.
times
Yeah.
because of it. It's real good. Like we're never
yeah.
supposed to believe that this is like great.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's like, no, look at him. He's a mess.
He's a disaster. Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. And we didn't get Frasier in this episode. He comes along later. I never even made it to watching the Kirstie Alley episodes. I didn't see those. I watched up until Diane left, and then I didn't lose interest. I think something happened, and then I lost my groove where I was binging these
yeah.
episodes. So I never saw those, but there's still a handful of great. Carla's husband
Mhm.
shows up later as
Yeah.
a recurring
Oh,
character,
yeah.
and I don't remember the dude's name, but he's
It is
yeah. I figured you would
uh,
know.
His character's name
Dan
is Dan.
Hedaya.
Dan
Yeah.
Hedaya.
Yeah.
Dan Hedaya
Yeah.
is the actor. And
Mhm.
the thing is, Dan Hedaya, while Nick Tortelli is a great character and so many people know him as that, I know him from a movie called Running Scared. He played the captain in that. And that movie, because it's so seared into my brain, that's the only thing I can think of him as first. And then it's every other role after that. But his work as Nick Tortelli is so good.
It's
Mhm.
amazing.
I mean, it was good enough they tried to do a spin-off
wow.
called The Tortellis.
Yeah.
It didn't last.
I don't think
but,
you could. I could watch the Tortellis. Like I feel like Nick's not a redeemable enough character for that.
And that was part of it.
Yeah.
So for me, Dan
why they
Hedaya
did
is
it.
always the accountant for the Adams family.
Adam's Family. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
I mean,
always
that's
put him
number
as
2.
100% of the time.
Yeah, that's mine. I remember seeing him on this show going, it's the guy from the Adams Family. Easy.
But the thing with him in Running Scared was he was the 1980s police captain, but he wasn't the yelling, screaming, fire and brimstone type captain. And so that's part of why, like, he was just very calm, like quiet and just matter of fact about everything, and it was so perfect.
Yeah, it's every character on the show is so well done, and for the pilot, talking about the pilot being so well like baked to the perfect temperature, like cake. This show, the pilot reminds me a lot of kind of the intro to Home Alone, which I always cite the introduction in Home Alone, like the first 20 minutes, as some
Yeah.
of the best writing, directing, cinematography on the planet for establishing a story and all the pieces you need to know
Yeah.
without dumping exposition on you. It's all organically happening. You learn who everybody is. You see all the Rube Goldberg madness that makes this situation possible, all with visual sight. It's a movie. Like you don't need to be told. Just show the things and we'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a masterpiece in that. And this show is a masterpiece at how a pilot is done. Every character is introduced in a really realistic way. Every single character is given enough dialogue to talk about who they are and what they're there for and what their point is. And we're all given jokes interspersed with it. It is so well done. They should teach classes on it for people writing.
I mean, they very
television.
smartly put Diane in because like she's the new guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so it's like,
That's
no, let me
us.
you don't understand. Let me tell you. Like the things that you can't just like, because Sam Malone does not have any, like, there's no, I mean, listen, the Red Sox were not good.
No.
It was not.
They really
They
weren't.
were not
Yeah,
good.
no.
I mean,
The Patriots, they were not, they were not good. No one was good. It was bad then. And so talking about it was just misery 100% of the time. Which I loved Coach. And like, he's like, oh, now my head hurts. And like when he picks up the phone, good grief.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you, Coach. Oh, speaking.
It's so good.
Oh my gosh.
I laugh so
Coach-
hard.
It got me so bad.
Oh,
Coach is
I
easily my favorite thing of
squealed.
this episode because if you are a sports fan at all, you have had conversations with this exact person
Yes.
who has no real opinion of their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any opinion
He's
that is
just
told to
happy
them,
to
they're like, "Oh yeah,
be-
that's right."
Just
Yeah.
wants to be in the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So
Yeah.
I got it. This is super minor, but I noticed it. It's near the beginning of the episode. I noticed it and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So at one point, when the bar starts to fill up, right? Like when patrons start to show up, at one point they pan past a woman in a wheelchair. And I thought,
Yes.
that's really progressive. Like that's some representation. And then I thought, how did she get in the bar?
There's no ramp.
There's
Yeah,
no
there's no-
elevator. This
No.
was not like, how did she
She
get
has
in the
some
bar?
Very, very good friends.
Yeah, she had some strong
Yeah.
friends helping her out.
Was that the?
I was just, I was
that
like,
wasn't
wait
the
a
older woman, was it?
Yeah.
No,
No, it was a
she was
younger
like,
lady.
Okay.
like middle, like,
Yeah.
our
Oh, that's right.
age.
Yeah. Yep.
But it
yep.
was in a wheelchair. And I was like, oh, that's some cool representation. And then I was like, wait a minute. How?
Yeah. Now,
You know-
now the logic brain kicks in, and
Yeah.
you're just gonna spin yourself into the ground.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
was
old
like, you can't. They're treacherous stairs. They're not just stairs.
Yeah.
They're treacherous stairs.
Well, it's the old Spielberg effect. Let's not worry there wasn't a hole there a minute ago. But
Yeah.
let's make it
No, it's
exciting
fine.
enough
It just
that we
it was
don't
so
care.
funny. I got into it and then I was like, well, now I need to rewind because I've just missed everything.
That's pretty cool. I would love to hear the story behind how that happened. Like, you just roll on the set, like say hey, and roll back out.
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal? What's your story? I want to know. Maybe we can find her. Travis, get on that.
I'll work on that.
Yeah. So this pilot, I think I've got. So I've done all my trivia now. We can go working our way through this episode. So the iconic music just starts to play at the beginning. I'm already into it, and Sam's walking around the bar doing his thing. This is our cold open, which plays better than the Wings cold open to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It knew what it wanted to be when it started. Because it's, we kind of have the same intro almost. The main character strolls into a place that's key to the show and then runs into somebody who's going to foil their moment somehow, or be the joke. And this little kid rocks it when he comes in and he's just like,
So
how about a
good.
beer? And of course, Sam says, how about some ID? Hands him over a 1944 guy's
Which I laughed a
license.
lot harder at than it really deserved.
Yes.
Because I'm like, no, this is 1982. Do the math. You're okay. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's not
When
as
when-
ridiculous as in my head right now.
Right.
But when the kid's mouthing the date as Sam's reading it, like
Yep.
it's like he's gone over that so many times to make sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He has practiced this moment.
I love when
This kid is
he's
second only to the kids in Shaun of the Dead. Not Shaun of the Dead.
Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
Right. Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Second only.
This kid pulls it off because I love how he just goes, oh, I'm flattered. Wait till I tell the missus. I'm just
Yeah.
he's trying so hard to sell it. How was Nom? Oh, war is gross. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, gross.
Where's gross?
It was so cool, and then just Sam being awesome, and then we get our intro, we hear our theme song, and all those little vintage pictures, paintings,
love
whatever
them.
they are, of the people in the 20s and whatnot are just
Most
they're in my
famous
head.
people, you will never know who they really are.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just
You know,
pictures.
I mean,
and
the We Won picture has been in my like reaction photos folder for eternity.
mhm.
yeah,
Like I use that all the time.
it's right there.
Mhm.
Next up, we got Diane and Sumner walk into the bar. Diane is Shelley Long, of course, who's going to be a main character. We don't know that yet. Nobody knows anything. It's a pilot. Walk into the bar, and this is one of those examples as they're coming in and they each say each other's names like 3 times. Like, this is
Yeah.
what Penny Marshall was talking about. This is
Yeah.
what throws people off. No one does that. She says Sumner like 52 times during this.
But I think but I think she loves his name, right? Like, because his
Yeah.
name is a thing,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
She's waiting for someone to recognize
Mhm.
the name because
Right.
he's got an article in whatever it was. I can't remember
Yeah.
now. It was not
Harper's?
a popular
Yeah.
Harper's. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's all about
So-
the academic creds.
Yeah. I think she was fishing for someone to notice.
That actually makes
Well,
a lot of sense.
Oh, definitely.
I'm glad they said it because the first time I heard it, I was like, "Did she say Thunder? Was that his name?" Oh no, Sumner. Okay, I got it. I'm on board now.
Thunder would have been a better name. That'd been fine. Wouldn't have fit his character as well. Also, he's like
No.
15 years older than her. Easy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which,
Well, I mean, that is the story.
Oh yeah, sure. Because
Right.
he had an
Yeah.
ex-wife left, and then he's
And
got
then
a beautiful.
she
young
was
new
his
bride.
teaching assistant,
Yeah.
Right.
which
Yeah.
is,
This is gonna go well.
you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be.
Yeah, so this is where we start to get the ball rolling on Diane meeting Sam, which is going to be our relationship with the contention and the or will they won't they situation, which is always necessary in your comedy TV / drama moments, So Sumner ends up leaving her at the table, and the phone rings. And like any normal person at any normal place you've never been to, you just go ahead and answer that phone,
Mhm.
This is what Diane does
Why
anyway.
not?
Picks up the phone behind the bar at the bar where no one is yet because it's very empty. It must be like 4 p.m. on the money when this all starts to go down.
Yeah.
Nobody's off work yet. They're eloping to Barbados.
Mhm.
And she picks up the phone, and Sam comes out, and it's all she says, "Oh, this person's calling for you," and ends up being a girl Sam knows. And his reaction with his mouth full, holding like a coffee, no. It's like, who is it? He's like, give me the phone.
Response is
Then
so good,
immediately
though.
backs
Uh-huh.
up, and it is just so good. This is why I love Ted Danson in this role.
But then, and then it's the, and he's like miming like I went out, right? And she's like,
Mhm.
oh, he had to step out. Oh, where? And he's miming getting a haircut, and she goes, mime class, and he's just like, but he's into it a little bit. He's like,
Mhm.
yeah, fine, that'll do.
Yeah, whatever,
Sure.
whatever we
course.
need. Yeah.
Sure, that'll get rid of her. Honestly, that's probably pretty good.
And she tells him that she said, "You're a magnificent pagan beast," and he said, "Thanks. What's the message?" Which just
That was great.
blew the roof
Oh my
off for me. I was like,
So
"All right, if you aren't sold on this show up to now, you're sold now.
Yeah.
You're in. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how
Mhm.
you
And if
could
you're
skip
not,
it.
then don't
Yeah,
don't bother.
It's not gonna stick.
Like, it's
You're
not
done.
for
What
you.
comedy
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is it. This is what it's going to be. So she's telling Sam all about Sumner's creds and where they're going, and they're going to go on they're getting married because she wants the best bottle of champagne. That was right.
So the best
Mhm.
before Sumner like as Sumner's leaving though, right? And she's like, Am I an idiot for letting you go see the woman that you used to be in love with?" And he's like, "I'm leaving you alone in a bar. Who's the stupid one?" Sam
Sam's
goes,
answer.
too close to call.
Yeah, that was so
Yes.
good. It's all
Sam
this-
throughout that whole
He's
that
so
whole
good.
exchange
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
just on fire.
Yeah,
Ugh.
because she throws
Well,
out
I
the
love it
poetry.
because I love it because he asked Sam. Like Sumner's like,
Mhm.
"What do you think, Sam?" And he's like, too close to call. Like, ask a stupid question, you will get a stupid answer, my friend.
Yeah, and there's no real malice or anything in it. It's just matter of
No.
fact.
No.
Yeah, it's so great. When they quote the poetry, and she looks at him and tells him that's done. He goes, "Oh, I sure hope so." So razor sharp wit on this show.
It's the wit of a bartender. It's a
Yeah.
bartender
Yeah,
who has heard
Mhm.
everything
Yeah.
and has
has
dealt with
seen
it.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and just is like, whatever, I don't care. Just get this over with.
Yeah, we're done now. I gave you the wine for on the house. Like let's be done with me being over here. Which is great. So Sumner leaves, and that's when Coach shows up. And this is what I love about the way they introduce characters. Each of them gets their time. They get their couple minutes to establish who they are. And Coach just comes in being super upset about the Patriots picking a linebacker. They got first draft pick and they've wasted it. And everyone he talks to after he complains about the football player tells him, well, I don't know. I think that could be all right. Yeah, you're probably right. That could be all right. Just switches it. Like you were talking about earlier.
And then he'll say that. He'll say, oh, yeah, did you see they got a top tier linebacker? And I was like, well, they're swimming in linebackers. They don't need it. Oh, no, you know what? You're right. Oh, my head.
See, that feels like what I do with sports people. Like most of the time, I don't know. I just want to be in the room. Like I just want to have the fun. Let's just have the fun. And so Sam begins to tell Coach what Diane's story is, and she's like, "Wait a minute, are you gonna tell? You can't tell this to everybody who walks in the bar. He says, what would you like me to tell them? I don't care. She's a hooker," which was amazing because now Coach thinks she's an actual hooker. Because Coach, he's missing some.
Listen, Coach is a simple man,
and Coach doesn't bat an eye. He's like,
No.
okay.
Yeah,
I mean, Coach isn't going to judge.
No,
not at all.
This is an accepting
I mean, if
bar.
he can still be with Sam after everything Sam did.
Yeah.
Coach is cool. Coach took one too many foul balls to the side of the head, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is so Coach is really useful in this episode because you get both his personality and you also use him as the person to tell Sam's story. Sam doesn't have to tell his own story because Coach is like, you don't know Sam Malone? And that's where we get a second character telling the proxy for us, Diane, what is going on, what Sam's story is, why he's at this bar. And it clues in this conversation about Sam was a drunk who owned a bar, fell out of baseball.
Great drunk.
He was a great drunk.
He was a good drunk.
He was a good drunk.
Yeah, he's good drunk.
Well, I love like Coach just adores Sam, right? He was a great pitcher.
Yeah.
Everything this kid did was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's you got to appreciate.
I need like a hype man. Like
I know.
Yeah.
That's a good hype man.
Yeah, he's always gonna believe in Sam, even when Sam's not at his best.
But to your point, like the writing of this episode is so good because, like you just said, we use Coach to tell Sam's story to get that ball rolling, and then Sam gets to finish it off when Diane asks him, "Why did you stop pitching?" And he's like, "Well, I was a pitcher and I developed an elbow problem. I was bending it too much."
That was so good too. Like that, everything was just so great. But yeah, we get that kind of deal going on where he gets to finish story. Sam as a character is never gonna just openly tell that. You know, what's the point? You know, that would be against his character to be like, "Oh, I bought this bar," blah, blah, blah. Like it didn't make any sense. So they did a great job making that Coach's job to do that. Then Carla gets her intro, and Carla is just a fireball, and she's amazing.
So it starts with Coach telling Sam, "Hey, Carla's late."
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there's no one in the bar. Like it's not.
Oh,
and she walks in.
That was great.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so good.
Yeah, she just yells about she had kids vomiting all over her, and she's like, "If you
no
can't
one
be
says a word to
compassionate-"
her when she walks in the door. Yeah, I'm late.
I'm actually shocked she didn't break the bar set when she flung that door open because you can hear that door just smack against it. I'm like, oh, that was sturdy. She gave it everything she had, and didn't even blink.
See the first take where she did break it, and they reinforced it after that.
They needed to fix that. But yeah, she runs in talking about her kids' bar. If you can't be compassionate, then I don't even know. I don't need this job. I'm not even gonna work here. I'll quit.
Job's not even that
Job's
good.
not even that good. Gets back out of earshot, and Sam goes, "You think I was too hard on her?" Never said a word. This is 4:05 p.m. most likely. She's not that late. It's okay, you know.
And there's nothing. It's not,
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. So Carly gets in, phone ring. This I just want to highlight this joke because, like you said earlier, I think you talked about it, Amy. Was when the phone rings and Coach picks it up and yells, "Is there an Ernie Pantuso here?" That's you, Coach. Speaking.
Yeah. That killed me. Oh my god.
So good.
I died. I was on the floor.
And because the best part is no one is surprised he doesn't know. No one is upset that he doesn't know. It's just that's you, Coach.
It also got me because having not watched it in a while, I forgot that was his actual name. I'm used to him just being Coach. So
Coach, yeah.
Right.
He said the name, was like, that sounds familiar, and then Sam says, "That's you, Coach."
That's
I was
you,
like,
Coach.
"Oh, right."
Speaking.
So funny. I know so many coaches that have not coached in a long time that people just continue to call Coach. Like it just seems to be the
It's
nickname.
like the
that sticks.
Seinfeld episode with the maestro. Like it's just you get the title and then that's
No,
it.
honestly,
That's all
once
you've
you
got.
become, if you become a coach and you do it for any length of time, that will be. I still run into my high school track coach, and if I see him, it's Coach Lober. It doesn't matter. He retired like 10 years ago or 15 years ago or something like that. He had been coaching, but he coached for like 45 years. So, it was generations of people that he was a coach for. So it's just always Coach.
Yeah. And in a small town environment, even big town, just small area, you're the coach, the guy, because like you said, it's generational. You teach and teach and teach over and over and over for 20, 25 years. You're gonna have a network, people that are gonna know you as Coach. Pretty great. So I think I skipped over some stuff, but I really got to the meat of this episode, which is the age-old question of what is the sweatiest movie ever made? Which is the conversation going on.
So here's the best part, because the best part about that is Carla has gone over to get the drink order. And Carla tells the rest of the bar the conversation that they're having to decide what the sweatiest movie is. What do you mean? Like the movie where people sweat the most, and now the whole bar is in it.
Yep.
Oh,
Which this bit has the best payoff.
Oh yes,
it's
it absolutely
good.
So
there are a lot of good answers to this question.
There are. I was going to ask you guys what your comment, so the popular, like Cliff says body heat. We've got Alien. Norm throws out Alien.
Buckets.
Yeah, buckets.
Alien is pretty sweaty.
Yeah. It is so sweaty. I think I know Fast and the Furious 1 to me is the sweatiest movie I've ever been a part of. Everyone was sweaty. Everyone was glistening. Everyone was wet. It bothered every bone in my body watching that.
I mean, that is in the running for it, certainly. I mean, Alien is up there, right? Because it's just like everybody. It's just humid in that ship for some reason.
Oh, a lot of water in the air.
That's how you get aliens, man.
I mean, Ben-Hur is a great choice.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that was.
There was a lot of sweating going on back then, and that was all. That's like from an era where it was natural sweating. That wasn't like somebody running around with the bottle of glycerin spritzing people down.
No.
Yeah, that was actual.
Yeah,
sweat.
I was gonna say. I mean, I was gonna say Magic Mike, but that's not sweaty. It's just shiny.
Yeah, that's
different.
Right. That's baby oil.
That's
just
oil.
That's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
I was not movies I've seen necessarily, but I thought of any kind of high school movie, like
smelly movies.
What's the one where they're playing football? James Vanderbeek. What's that one?
Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues, something like that.
That's a sweaty movie.
Also, Top Gun came to mind. I was thinking about that.
Top Gun is real sweaty.
It's got lots of
And
stuff.
it is because it's a lot of, it's beach volleyball, and then the rest of it is just in the cockpits of fighters where there's nowhere to go. But
yeah,
it's gonna get hot in there.
You know what movie had some
That's
sweat
a good one
that bothered me a lot more than Fast and Furious? Teen Wolf. You remember the end of Teen Wolf?
Yeah.
When they are just, drenched drenched, and then they like grab each other and like pick each other up, and I'm like, they're gonna slide off each other. This is the most disgusting basketball game I've ever seen. Definitely
I mean,
pulling
if you
Scott
want-
Johnson
Dirty
level
Dancing
of
has
grossed out.
Dirty Dancing has moments of sweat.
Sure,
But
Yeah,
it's not
there-
like
there's sexy sweat and there's
thing.
non-sexy sweat though, and like the end of
Yeah.
Teen
Oh,
Wolf
yeah,
is
no,
definitely opposite
not
of
good.
sexy sweat.
yeah.
Like there's scenes in movies that could be that, right? Like Ace Ventura
Yeah.
when Nature Calls,
Oh,
the scene with the
oh.
rhino is incredibly sweaty.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
that's just one scene in that movie. It's not
Right.
like Top Gun, which has it all the way through.
all
Right.
sweat all the
Um,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we've
And
clearly
then
saw
that leads
this.
us into Cliff's first little known fact.
That's right.
of
And what is his
Cheers.
little
It's just
known
like,
fact?
wow.
Audie,
Just,
were you
you
going to
know-
queuing that up for yourself? What was that fact?
You know, women have less sweat glands than men do, but they sweat more. It's just like,
Yeah, they're larger and
Okay.
more active.
and then he turns to Diane is like, so what are your sweat patterns?
Perspiration patterns.
Because that's the other part about Cliff,
Mhm.
right? Cliff, incorrect facts and
Uh-huh.
inappropriate questions.
Yup.
Yep.
Yeah, and a little known fact about Cliff's little known facts, they were ad-libbed. John Ratzenberger ad-libbed those little known facts. The writers would simply write the script and give him a
Mhm.
cue like this is where you're gonna need a
This
fact
is where
to follow up
your
a
facts
line.
go.
Because
Yeah,
he's the inspiration for that character. He
Yeah.
actually auditioned for George. Or I
Mhm.
mean,
Norm. George
Norm.
Wendt, aka Norm.
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
He auditioned for Norm, didn't get it, and told the writers, y'all should have a know-it-all kind of character. They're like, okie dokie.
Yeah.
Just
Perfect.
wrote him in.
Look, you make your own trail when you get turned away. Well, that's
Mhm.
fine.
God,
I'll
Cliff
just make
would
a new
love
one.
Twitter.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
You would.
absolutely. And you know, we've still got John Ratzenberger in our life. I think he's been in every Pixar movie ever made
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
always a
Yes.
voice of something. So
Mhm.
listen up. Anytime you have a Pixar movie, you've got a John Ratzenberger in
Mhm.
there. Why?
With
I
a
don't
little
know
Cliff
why.
in there.
Yeah,
Why
but
not?
he'll be there. So Sumner comes back in the bar at this point.
Oh my god.
He's been gone a while. An hour, I think is what they said.
An hour.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he's been missing. Shouldn't take him that long. He said, "I'll be 10 minutes." He's been gone to his ex-wife's apartment. He's having some second thoughts now. All of a sudden, that woman is just
Wait, no,
great.
wait.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he comes in. She's like, "Where have you been?" They're having a conversation about the sweatiest movie,
Oh,
and he
yeah.
just goes, "Cool Hand Luke." And the whole
Yeah.
Everybody's like,
Like,
oh
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I forgot that point. That was
That was
good.
not the
Oh my
response she
God.
was looking for.
No.
No, it wasn't, but it was the perfect response
was-
in that
Mhm.
moment.
It was
Ugh.
good. Now I want to watch Cool Hand Luke. I've never seen that movie, but now that I know it's one of the sweatiest movies in the world, I guess I have to watch it. So he kind of wants to sit Diane down and be like, "Look, I can't. I've fallen back in love with my ex-wife," but she manages to talk him out of it. She's like, "No. We're gonna go. We're gonna get on a plane. We're gonna get married. It's
Great,
gonna
we
be
can
great."
talk about it in Barbados.
Yeah, we can talk about it when we're there. Yeah, and it's just getting worse. So he's like, "You're right. We're gonna leave." Phone call comes in the bar. Carla picks it up. Is there a Sumner Sloan here?
Wait.
No,
Is
oh, wait,
your
yeah, yeah.
name? Hang on. I'm sorry if I get this wrong, but is your name Sumner Sloan? Yes. And then she just loses
laughs.
it.
It's great.
And it reinforces the fact that Diane is ridiculous because she's all like, everyone needs to know his name, right? It's Sumner Sloan. This is my guy. This is the academic. And Carla can't get over how silly that name sounds, which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
really good callback to taking the wind out of Diane's sails or helping her realize that this guy's a tool bag, one or the other, which is pretty great. So he's going to go back and get the ring because his ex-wife said she could have him. Like, isn't that bad luck to wear the wedding ring of a
I
previous?
mean, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
That's for sure.
Yeah, like I don't think somebody came up to me and be like, "Hey, you could marry me, and here's my husband's ring." I'd be like, "I don't want that one." I'm like, I don't think that's
No.
I
appropriate.
feel like every other there's a zillion other sitcoms where somebody goes to like reuse a ring and
Yeah.
everyone is like, no.
It's got bad
No.
juju on it. Like, don't do that. That's not okay. Like,
Yeah, it's
mm-mm.
more. It works if it's like a generational thing and you're passing
I
it
mean,
down in the
it was
family.
his
But
grandmother's,
Sure, but he gave it to his
yeah,
ex-wife, right?
and she kept it.
Yeah.
Like,
she,
Mm. It's lucky she didn't pawn it. Like that, that's also a move you can
yeah,
do. There are many
It's true.
options when you have a big old honking piece of jewelry from someone you
yeah.
don't like anymore. It's a gift. It's mine now. I don't have to give it back. It's a
Right.
life rule. Don't ask about gifts after you give them. It's bad. It's a bad
Mm-mm.
move for you and for them. So he leaves the bar. Now we just got Diane left at the bar, and very few people are in it. It's got to be late night at this point.
Is
Not
it late
dinner
night
crowd.
or is it like did we open the bar at like 2?
Mm-hmm.
We've come in for the after work crowd. Now it's like 7, so we're gonna go home and have dinner.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
more people do come in.
Sure, but Sam
Mhm.
looks at his watch when they
So
do, and Coach has already left.
yeah, that's true.
When the bigger crowd comes in, he's
Yeah,
already
that's
like,
true.
is late, is what I'm thinking. Because
Yeah.
Coach is
Yeah,
Coach
that
is
might
out.
be.
yeah,
Yeah.
Norm is toast. Norm's
Yeah,
getting
Yeah,
driven
you're right.
home.
And Norm
The
is not a lightweight.
no,
yeah.
Norm's done. Which brings me to the point
That's
that
the
no one
best.
on the show Cheers ever left the bar drunk on their own. If they were drunk,
No.
someone took them
Mhm.
home, or they made
Yep.
sure to announce that some cab was picking them up. There was always, and it actually got
Yeah.
accolades from people against drunk driving because of that
I
constant
mean,
message of them getting rides.
the T stop which is the subway there, is like 2 blocks away. Like it's right there. Like you
Yeah,
can no problem.
but not
No
everybody knows
problem.
that, so you gotta tell them.
No, I know. They did a
Right,
great
right.
job. That
Yeah,
was awesome.
yeah, they did a good
We won't
thing.
go into the subject of Norm's bar tab though
Oh
over the
no,
course of the show.
of course not
Although
right
it is
now.
a joke that gets made a few times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to
But
worry about
even
that right now.
but I love before Coach takes him home, but before that, Coach talking about how he's been going on with this book for 6 years. And Diane's like, "Oh, you're writing a novel?" And he's like, "Reading one."
Reading
Oh
one.
man, it was just the best,
Coach. Yeah.
the
Good for
best
you,
joke.
Coach.
Yeah, you keep getting. I
Good
love
for
how
you.
Sam. It's like everybody knows Coach is taking a couple to the head because
Yeah.
it's just everything Coach does that is wildly wrong is accepted and
No way.
loved.
No one blinks.
Right.
Yep.
No,
It's just
no one
yep.
even blinks.
Okay.
You get to where you understand what's going on here, and then so now that Sumner's left, he's gone with his. He's not come back anyway. Diane is getting to the understanding. Okay, maybe he's not coming back. Maybe I just need to go home. This sucks. This is the worst day. Starts talking to Sam a little bit about why bartenders are always the one people dump their problems on, and then immediately begins dumping her problems onto Sam.
Yep.
Right? He's there. He's the only one in the bar. He's a
Yeah.
captive audience.
Yep.
But he's also not the best consoler bartender. He's not that guy. That's not who you're looking
No.
for. So she ends up breaking down, and he's just like, I don't know, man. He's no good. This is where the feistiness between the two begin, and where my notes begin to fall apart because I was enjoying the show more than I was writing down what was happening.
Yeah. I just wrote down the word goofy. That's all.
Yeah, that's right.
Changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's
Well, so at
that's
one
right. They
point
did that.
she's, because she's like, no, it's all gonna work out, and then he's like, he's in Barbados, like they're in Barbados right now, like they are on
Yeah.
their way to Barbados,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, oh, I never switched the reservation, and she calls the airline, and they're like, and then you just hear her go, they did?
Yep.
No, all right, thanks, and she's like, how did you know? Bartender's intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone in that bar knew, but her.
Everyone in that bar knew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone knows
We
her
miss
name.
Carla's line when she gets in and she says, oh, I love a woman that's brave enough to take her luggage out drinking.
Yeah.
So great. So yeah, we get kind of the breakdown of what's going on here. Sam ends up offering Diane a job because now he knows she's out of work. She's no longer a teaching assistant. She's gonna need one. And she's like, I would never work here. Blah blah blah. What's the point? But Carla has
I have
just
no
given,
skills.
I have no skills.
I'm not good at
nothing,
anything.
Not qualified at anything. Which is funny because you think she's this big intellectual like superstar.
Well, you learn that she's like, it's almost like what's his name from Arrested Development, right? Who's a perpetual student.
Oh
Job?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
No,
Not Job. Wow.
Tobias.
Tobias, right?
Not
David?
Tobias.
Not Tobias.
Oh,
No, the
That's
other
right,
one.
it's
We'll
The
name
other
all of them.
one.
No idea.
Anyway, it'll come
Jason
to me
Bateman's
later.
character. I don't remember what
I
his
can't.
name was.
No, I can't even think of the actor's name right now, even though I love him. I think his first name's Tony. That's as much as I've got.
All right.
Anyway,
yeah.
he's just a perpetual student.
Oh,
That's
oh,
all he can
Buster.
do.
Buster.
Buster.
Yeah.
Buster.
right. Yes.
He's just a perpetual student. He has no skills whatsoever. He's just really good at doing school, which it's a little close to home for me, but we'll ignore all of that.
Right.
And so that's her, right? She's an academic,
Yeah.
which
But-
doesn't necessarily now the fact that there are 800,000 colleges in the city of Boston will ignore that entirely.
Sure.
It's fine.
But we got to get to the best part, because
Yeah.
just before they start their little argument
Yes.
for submitting,
So
Carla gives Sam a big old drink order. He's like,
Oh
"Okay."
yeah.
And then him and Diane get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "There's no way I can do this. I'm not going to do this." And she goes to leave, and Sam's like, "Wait, what was I making?"
Yeah, goes to
And
ask Carla.
And Diane turns around and immediately gives him every single drink.
Yeah.
And he looks at her, and she looks at him, and is like,
Oh.
"Okay."
You are good at something. Remembering drink
Yep.
orders. At least we know
Mhm.
that much. And you would think that the show is kind of tapering off here. Like, we've done all our big bangers. We've done all the jokes that are going to make the audience laugh. We'll just coast into the ending. But we're not going to. Because two people walk into the bar on Diane's first day at work, and she starts, and you think this is what you think the joke is, that Diane is just laying all her story onto these two unsuspecting people, and you're already feeling like, oh my
At
gosh,
one
I
point,
can't
she
believe she's
sits
doing
down
this.
at the
Right,
table
she
with
sits
them.
down with
Yeah.
him and
Yep.
just talking and talking.
Yeah,
and it's
just
like,
talking
all
at them
right.
about what she's doing and how her life has gone and where she's at. And it's okay, what can I get for you? And they do not speak English. He pulls out an English little like a translation
book.
book. Yeah, phrase book. Says, "We've lost our luggage. Can you tell us where to find the police?"
Where is police? We have
And
Where
it
is
lost
police?
just
We have lost our luggage. And
blew
it's just-
my mind.
Mm.
It was, and it was like the whole time the two actors who are playing that German couple are just sitting there like stoically watching her, and I'm like, this is weird. Like, I mean, this thing gives the actors anything to do, and then that happens. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, because you expect them to order something, or they're
Yeah.
gonna say something,
they're gonna
order something
leave.
weird.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like,
It's
you know what? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And those are the easy
Nope.
jokes. We would have laughed
Yeah.
at that, but we
Sure.
guffawed at the they
Yes.
don't even speak
Yeah.
English, and that was
And the best is that Coach, Carla, and Sam are all behind the bar, and they're
Yeah, just watching it happen.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
It's
yeah.
this show is a masterpiece. I don't know of any
Yeah.
pilot. Like, I mean, we watched a lot of pilots. Well, we watched 6. We'll probably watch more. But so far, I don't know of one that has hit all the beats of a show so well, that worked so
Yeah.
well, that I can't imagine a studio watching this cut and being like, show's not going to make it. Like, every one of them had to know that it was going to be the best thing, which makes me think that last place Nielsen had to be heartbreaking. Because
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
clearly they poured everything they had into this, and it was hilarious. If you have a brain, you're into this show,
Mhm.
And it just didn't. I mean, for those who don't have if you didn't like it and you do have a brain, do it, whatever. But
No, you don't get to take it back.
Look,
You own this now.
this is my brand.
Steven backpedaling.
It's fine.
Uh,
But to have that all out there and then come in dead last, that had to be really disappointing. Which makes me even happier that it ended up doing a full run of 270 episodes. I don't binge watch a lot. I know we've sat here and done a lot of these shows, and we've talked about, hey, would you go back and watch this? Would you go back and watch this? Most things, yeah, I would, but I don't. For one reason or another, it could be a time constraint. Just there's a lot out there. There's a lot of content in the world, everybody.
Mhm.
But this show, I did manage to watch like 4.5 seasons of before I finally like had something else to do. So I mean, to me,
let me
that's
go be an adult.
yeah, I gotta go like make a bed or something. This show is an absolute treasure. I hope everybody who was out there got a chance to watch it. Any closing thoughts? I know we all love it, so we probably watch more. But is there anything we want to leave us with?
No, I just love this show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I really do. And what's great about it was a show that kept its momentum even with cast changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When Shelley Long left and they bring in Rebecca.
Yeah.
Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley. Like the show kept going. It
Mhm.
pivoted. It wasn't the exact same show. It was able to evolve.
Right.
Coach
Mhm.
left and Woody came in, and they were able
And
to.
I think the setting is part of that, right?
Yeah.
Because a bar is a
Yeah.
transient place
Mhm.
anyway.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, but there's still something to be said for the writing that you take one character in Diane.
Oh
She
yeah,
leaves,
absolutely.
and then Kirstie Alley comes in, a totally different character, and yet they still make it work. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that is
Yeah.
so impressive.
The writers
Plus,
were
it's such a
actually.
relatable. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the writers were actually relieved when Shelley Long did leave because it gave them more to work with because they didn't feel like they had
Right.
to
Because at some point,
shove
yeah.
Diane and Sam together anymore. They could break loose of that
Yeah.
and do something else.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Travis.
Mhm. I was just gonna say it's also such a relatable show because even if you're not a drinker and you don't go to a bar, you may go out and have a place you go that is like Cheers. Everyone
Mhm.
has their Cheers
Yeah.
Right.
to an extent, and if you are one that goes out at all, so it could be a bar, it could be a restaurant, a cafe,
Mhm.
coffee shop, whatever it is, and so there's something comforting about that and relatable that anybody watching it can kind of feel a connection to as well.
Yeah.
Because again, the genius of the show is they didn't focus on the drinking. They focused on this is a place where
Yeah.
people come together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It happened to be a bar, so you happen to have alcohol stuff. And they made those jokes when they could and needed to, but they didn't rely on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They could have thrown softballs and still made people laugh, but they worked harder. They made it
Mhm.
about the characters, not about the location. The location was just where they could shove these people together naturally and they could joke and stuff. Shoot, I mean, I wish
Yeah.
I had an environment like Cheers where it's a place I went like every Thursday or whatever. And you walk in, people know you, and you're like, oh, yeah. But you gotta,
Mhm.
this is the 21st. Nobody talks to anybody anymore. You walk in a place, like, good luck.
It's funny.
I
I
mean,
think
I
about that. We had a place like that in Atlanta that we would go, a pizza joint we'd go to every Friday night as a family. And like my dad was a truck driver that, service vending machines and stuff. So like he knew the owners and everything so well
Mhm.
that, compared to other patrons, if we needed a refill, he would just take our cup and go in the back and do it. And then like, oh, there's Bob. See you, Bob. Whatever.
Oh, wow.
Kind
Yeah.
of thing. And it's like they still do that. They do it more like Sundays after church and go there, but like everybody knows them and they're like just like whatever, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I had my Cheers bar. There was a bar here, a little local one called Brady's Bar, and my friends and I would go there every Monday night. They would have jazz band practice get done. I would get done playing basketball, and I'd meet up with them. And it got to a point where I would walk in, and it was always the same waitress, unless she was on vacation. She was working, and I would walk in, and she would see me and just grab a mug and hand me a mug as I walked by,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd get to the table, and either were already there, or if I was the first one there, a few minutes later, she would show up with a pitcher and be like, "So, how many are coming tonight, and how many orders of wings are you going to need?" Like,
Yeah.
it was just because it was just regular as clockwork. We were there at like 9 p.m. Every Monday night.
Yep.
Mine was
It was
when
awesome.
when I was working at Rockstar, every Monday for lunch we would go to this Thai place nearby called Mango. And I would always get a Thai iced tea, no cream. And
Mm.
it was not long before I would walk in, sit down, and my Thai iced tea, no cream would just be put down in front of me. And
That's so cool.
it's just
There
nice.
is
Yeah.
there is a comforting feeling to that. I also had that at a Chinese takeout where I had been in there enough times. I walked in and he was cooking. The owner was back there cooking, and he just looks over, he sees me and nods, and I just sit down, and 10 minutes later, my food's ready. He's like, "Here you
That's
go."
amazing. With that
In
means,
college,
oh, go ahead,
there
Audie.
was a Chinese food place we'd go to after church on Sundays, and we went so often that our group would walk in and the waitress would look. It's like, okay, sweet tea, Coke, sweet tea, water. It's like, yep, we're all getting a buffet.
Yep.
We had a place we would go downtown called Salem Street Pub, and they had a trivia night on Wednesdays, and we got together 3 of my friends. The groups kind of changed, but we would go in and we had a waitress there who was probably there for a year. We'd go about once or twice a month to trivia just to sit down, do some trivia, and she knew all our orders after a little while. So it wasn't like we knew everybody. We did get to know team names because we were the Irish wristwatch, which made, I can't remember who made up that. I think it was one of my buddies trying to do a tongue twister because the guy couldn't say it, which is amazing.
Nice.
But yeah, we would end up being in third, first, second place against these other 2 teams that were always there on Wednesdays. Like, who are those people? Who are you? And why do you keep beating us? It's like it was we had one of those fun rivalries, which was a lot of fun.
And that was the thing about the game store. Especially like the Magic players who would come to hang out. Like I was the Sam there. I knew everybody's name. I knew what they played.
Yeah.
The board game guys, what they like. Hey, there's a new thing coming out. Like I always said that of all the retail that I've done, working at the Game Store was way more like being a bartender.
I bet.
Like you had to know the regulars, you had to know what their usual was. It was a whole thing.
You had to know what games they might like in case they asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, that was Cheers. If you've got some memories of Cheers, you can let us know about them. Even send us like who your like what your crew was like. Tell us a little story. You can send those emails over to those were the days show at gmail.com. We didn't get any emails this week about Cheers or about Wings, but we'd love to read some, so send them our way. Did we get any Twitter, X, whatever feedback, socials feedback?
Not seeing any.
Nothing this time. Nothing this time. Hey, we got some live stuff from Skeezix. My uncle has a diner like this. Feels so special when I visit and we go for breakfast. Waitress knows to bring a pot of coffee, knows to tell them when they have SOS. I don't know what SOS is, but good. Glad to hear it. Diners are great. There should be more of
Diners
those.
are great.
Yeah. I used to take my son to one after church on Sunday, and he would always get the burger. And they brought it out in a little cardboard Cadillac.
Oh,
cream
SOS.
chip beef. Oh, I know what you mean. I got you. Yeah.
Yep.
I got you. Yeah, but it's good stuff. So yeah, those were the days show at gmail.com. Those days show on the Twitters, if you call it that now. But next week we're gonna be going somewhere else, and Amy is gonna take us there. Where are we going, Amy?
All right, I'm gonna tell you right now. It's kind of a doozy. It's a 2-parter. It's a little big. I can't believe it's taken this long to get to what was most likely the most formative television of my youth. We're going to watch the pilot of Star Trek: The Next Generation, otherwise known as Encounter at Farpoint. Now, all right, so it is like a total of 90-minute runtime. Be prepared.
Okay.
And the nice thing is that Paramount has put them together into like just a thing, which is kind of nice. Yeah, Encounter at Farpoint. I'm very excited because it's been a hot second since I watched this. It's also real good because whenever we eventually roll around to finales, it's a good one to do because they call back right back to day one, which is outstanding. So yeah, available on Paramount Plus.
That is
where all
exciting.
things Star Trek live.
True story. I have never seen an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I know.
So
That
this
was
is.
don't think that didn't like weigh into my choice like a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, I know the other two are already going to be into it.
Yeah.
And
I
then
love being the
Steven needs
outlier.
to like before we do, Steven watches Star Trek, our new show, in which we all just watch Steven watch Star Trek.
Watch me watching it.
And then we go, see?
Isn't that great? Yes, that's really good.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. So that's you heard Star Trek: The Next Generation is the pilot for next week. 90 minutes. Carve off
90
some
minutes.
time.
It's
Grab
a lot.
some popcorn.
I know it's a lot, but it's not Greatest American Hero, so.
Yes. Look, don't be too hard on Greatest American Hero.
Greatest American Hero was
stuff.
great.
It's great
It was
stuff.
the best 30-year-olds playing 16-year-olds.
Believe it or not, that really was some of the best high school age.
It was really good.
Oh, great. Oh, man, there's a lot of back episodes of this show you guys should go enjoy. I'm just telling you, if you listen to the show. Also, some art you should look at. Like, if you aren't paying attention to Audie's unbelievable album art, like, in particular, this week's, I mean, every week is
so
amazing.
good.
This
But
week,
this week's is so good.
I literally wanted to frame it and put it on my wall. It
mean, we
is
could.
unbelievable.
We have the
Audie.
ability.
Yeah, it's
We should do a
it's so good.
postcard set.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's
We should.
something. I mean, the art's too good to just leave it on the internet, Audie.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I've
You can
got
send
it all on
Audie
my
some
iPad,
tips.
Just tell me what to do with it.
Okay, I'll just put it out there. Let's go. You're the best,
That's
Audie.
patron level stuff, right? We'll start the Patreon, and that's part of what you get are the postcards.
How bad I am. We're bad at organizing notes, much less a Patreon. Are you kidding? We got this. It's fine. It's fine. Amy's got skills, but she's busy with other stuff. Ake Willow doing it, knocking it out of the park.
We don't talk about the Egg Willow Patreon. If you're a member of our Egg Willow Patreon, we're very sorry.
Don't worry, we have a Patreon for.
We're so
for my
sorry, and
stuff.
we love you.
My mom's a member. It's great. Thank you,
Nice.
Mom. Yeah. So everybody, you have yourselves a wonderful time. Until next time, we will. You enjoy your drinks responsibly at whatever local dive you like to hang out at, and come back next time as we talk about Star Trek: Next Generation on Those Were the Days. Bye, everybody. Got it.
Yeah.
In the bag.
Okay, Travis, what was going to be your